Hey, welcome to the Swine-Time Podcast with my special guest today, Jonathan Kowalsky. A great
Hello.
name there, Kowalsky. I think
Yes. There's a wrestler named Killer Kowalski. Were you aware of that?
Killer Kowalski. Okay, I've heard
He's an OG.
Okay, so Kowalski. How do you say it?
Whatever. Everybody says it different, but yeah.
Okay, it depends where you're from and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, Johnny and I, we met on a shoot. Lowe's commercial.
That's right.
With we got to hang with Lionel Messi. Yeah.
Right.
So,
right.
Well, I don't know if we really got to hang with him too much, but we did get to see him.
Yeah. Right.
In person.
He's that VIP.
Yeah. So
I think we were talking about if we could take his bodyguard.
yeah. He had a huge bodyguard.
Man. That would a bodyguard to a commercial shoot, but yeah, I guess he's that famous.
Well, yeah, he's that famous. He needs a bodyguard at the commercial shoot.
I don't watch soccer, so I honestly didn't even know who he was. Like, I heard the name, but I don't know what he looked like. So, but I get, internationally, he's probably one of the most famous people on the planet.
Yeah, he's up there because you got to figure that soccer/football in every other country is the number one sport worldwide.
Their number one. Yep.
So just because it's not as popular here, we don't realize how massive it is out there. So and we were filming, and I looked over and I saw this dude with like 20 pounds of cauliflower ear.
I got a pretty cauliflower. That's a good one.
You got a good cauliflower.
That's a pretty one. I got some friends, man. You can't even see the hole inside their freaking ear. They can't hear nothing. But man, when I got this, because I'm an actor, I'm like, fuck, it was a golf ball. And I sucked that shit out for like 3 weeks because every time I would suck it out, I would, like an idiot, go train. I would wear headgear, but I'd go train and it would fill back up. Then I'd suck it out and then fill back up. Then I'd suck it out. And then it just hardened like that.
Yeah.
Most people don't get it. It's so funny how like people don't understand cauliflower ear, but if I wanted it to be really big and ugly, I could have just left it alone and kept training with no headgear, but I did not want it. I wanted it like I'm not too mad at this because it's not terrible, but man, some of my friends that are not actors and just didn't give a fuck, it's can I curse? Is that bad?
No, I think we're okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're okay. I mean, I'm gonna put it on YouTube and Spotify. I don't know what the rules are exactly, but I don't think it matters too much.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, so it could be really bad, but this is a maintained cauliflower ear, we'll call it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that can be. And now, how did you drain it? Did you drain it yourself, or how did that?
Myself. Yeah. You could use. So there's, I don't know the calibers of the needles, but there's syringes that are like the diabetes syringes that are really thin. The trick is you get the bigger syringes, the ones that actually mix stuff, and you could take all the cc's, because if you use the little ones, it's almost too thin. It's kind of thick in there. It's like this pink, clearish fluid that the little diabetes needles, it doesn't do it justice. You got to take the big, thick syringe, the ones that are the mixers, and you stick it in. There's almost no nerve endings. You can't really feel it, and then you suck it out. And you'll do it 2 or 3 times if it's big enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I've
done it to a lot of teammates too. I've sucked out their juice. That sounds terrible. That
sounds We might get banned for that line. I don't know. The F word might be okay, but that might be going too far.
Hey, don't take that out of context, people.
You sickos. So we were. We made friends. I was like, okay, I could tell this guy was a wrestler. And, man, you got a crazy backstory. You wrestled at FSU, Florida State University.
Right. That's right. It's a club team. It was not NCAA, but it was a great club team, and it was a great program because I was a high school captain of my wrestling team, and I wrestled since 6th grade, and it beat the whatever we want to call it out of me, and I made some big mistakes sucking weight, and since I was a freshman, every year I would drop a lot of weight, which is probably I'd argue to say is my biggest regret in life is sucking all the weight I did. Really? I was a freshman coming in weighing 105 pounds. And this is back when they had 91s in high school. And my coach was like, if you want to go varsity, get down to 91, you'll go varsity. So I'm prepubescent as a freshman, starving myself. And I remember prepubescent, I had to go on scale and drop my drawers. No hair in my balls. It was the most embarrassing thing. Oh. Anyway, I did that every year. It really messed up my brain. And I'm like, F that. I didn't want to wrestle in college. Went to FSU. They had an IM wrestling tournament, like an intramural wrestling tournament. I'm like, you miss it. You can't just stop wrestling. So right. I did the tournament. And, I didn't really train for it. And I freaking took second. And then sure enough, it's a big college. Some guys came up to me like, dude, we got a team here. I'm like, what do you mean you got a team? There's no wrestling at FSU. They're like, no, there's club wrestling. It's not an NCAA sanctioned sport, but it's a good club team. We did at UF, Auburn, like all the Florida schools, Alabama schools, Georgia schools. And we would travel. They had a little bit of a budget. And for the rest of my college, it was a perfect mix of like legit wrestling, but I did not drop at all. I stayed at my weight. I think at the time I was 165 and I didn't have to lose any weight. We only practiced like 4 days a week and it was very chill. It was not like the wrestling Dan Gable freaking, Jay Robinson's like eat, breathe, sleep wrestling. It wasn't that. I was still able to party. I was really into girls, really into partying. So it was a perfect mix, but I loved it. Great program.
Well, it's good that they have something like that for the guys to do to keep active because, and I've been at tournaments and seen some of these club, guys that come off of club teams. There are animals, man.
Some killers, dude. So I ended up wrestling a Florida state champion. Same thing, like, because my teammate was his teammate in high school. He's like, dude, he won state. And he went to UCF, and same thing. They just had a club team. He didn't want to wrestle in college, and then he ended up doing the club team there. He actually now runs ATT Orlando. Kid named Patino, really tough kid. On the DL, I beat him, but
well, this might not be on the DL, dude. I don't know.
That's the joke. That's the irony. But yes, he same thing like me. I think he was like burnt out. He wasn't like training 100%. And like I was a tough kid. I was a grinder. I wasn't like the most talented wrestler in the world, but I was a grinder. I was good. And anyway, yeah, just grinded out like a W.
When you say burnt out, now for let's say in particular for wrestling dads that might be watching this,
yeah,
how do you keep, or athletes themselves, how do you keep from being burnt out? Is it the weight cutting that you think burns a lot of people out of the sport, or what do you think?
Well, especially as a dad, injuries is a factor. Now, keep in mind, I'm about to be 45. I've had 5 knee surgeries, 1 elbow surgery, 2 shoulder surgeries, pinky surgery, and my wrist. I mean, I just got done training. We didn't get into this, but I'm big into jiu-jitsu now. I just got done training this morning, and my wrist is severely compromised. I'm praying to God that it's not a surgery. I don't know what the F is going on, but 2 months now, and I can't even do a push-up. So when I grab for a Kimura, if I try to just stabilize someone's wrist or gi, I just like, I can't do it. So burnt out means, the 6 day a week where it's like, you're not doing it because you're compelled to do it. You're doing it because you have to do it. Mm-hmm. And, your body's so calloused and just sore every single day. Like you can't keep track of the injuries. You just get out of bed and it's like, you're in constant pain. And, I want to train like it's irrational what we do. Like, why would you let a grown ass man get on top of you and try to freaking grapple you, choke you, pin you, distort your arms? And, I trained with some killers like law enforcement, SWAT, like ex-pro fighters. And I'm going. Like, I had to go this morning. It is my mental health. So there is a balance where I was going to compete this year, but my injuries have prevented me thus far. If I was competing, I would make myself go 6 days a week. I'd be in my garage. I have a gym. I'd be on the assault bike 5 days a week doing VO2 max. That is where I would probably get burnt out. I took a week off because of my wrist. And if I was competing, I wouldn't take a week off. I would just fucking push through. That's the difference between getting burnt out and just being a lifelong grappler, and you're going to do it at your leisure. So I got 2 kids. I got a wife. I train at my leisure. I do see the young kids, and, I don't know about these guys that go to these gyms, but there are these young kids. They're 2 a day every day. Like, the Gordon Ryans, if you go – I used to live in California, like Athos, Cobrinas, they're 2 a day every day. I'm not talking about 6 days a week. I'm talking about 7 days a week. Maybe their day off is doing 1 day instead of 2. And I respect it. It's just not me at 45.
Right.
And that is the burnout.
And it's just kind of putting all that wear and tear on your body. And I didn't mention to the audience that you are a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
I am a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. 19 years.
19 years.
I'm a Paragon black belt under Ricardo Frangina.
Okay. So how long did it take you to become a black belt?
I started training about 06. I think I got it 14. Let's call that, what is that?
8 years?
It was 8 or 9 years. It was probably 9 years because, it was like the beginning of 06, maybe it was the end of 05, and it was the end of 2014.
And you said you're
8 or 9 years.
Paragon black belt. What does that mean? What does that?
Paragon is the academy. Like if you're on the West Coast, you know who Paragon. They did Jeff Glover, Bill Cooper. Like they're a big school started by Ricardo Frangina. Now I'm with Alliance, which is a huge jiu-jitsu group.
Now, what do you think going from being a wrestler to jiu-jitsu? What, I know there's some similarities, and I've done about 10 times of jiu-jitsu, so I see, but what is your kind of thinking on how it's different or how it's similar or the advantages and disadvantages?
Great. I could do an hour on this subject. It is extremely similar, yet extremely different. In wrestling, the fight ends when your back is on the mat. That's the end of the fight. Like, your objective in wrestling is to take someone down, control them on the mat, put their back on the mat, and pin them. In jiu-jitsu, that is not your objective. Your objective is to submit them, right? Submit them now can mean a choke, asphyxiation, a joint manipulation, a foot manipulation, toes, everything's game, wrists, toes. And that's where it gets, they're the same. It's just one is a more elevated version. So the advantages of a wrestler is that there's a very sad thing happening in jiu-jitsu today, which is considered, I consider it sport jiu-jitsu, where people are not looking at jiu-jitsu as a martial art and a self-defense. They're looking at it as a sport, and they're trying to get points, sweeps, and, attack legs. And while they're attacking legs, they're completely susceptible. Let's say you were in a street fight or a confrontation where there is striking. While you're in this weird position and you sit down on your butt and kind of shimmy your way under them into some sort of K-guard or bottom half guard, if it was a street situation or a self-defense situation,
kick them in the face.
You're going to get beat to shit, elbowed, kicked in the face.
Yeah, for sure.
But because it's jiu-jitsu and you're trying to get the finish, there are some wizards, and I mean wizards out there that will attack, and you have to know the defenses and the strategy of the foot locks and the leg locks. The problem is it's at what risk? Because how applicable is it to street and MMA? It's there. You should know it, but at what cost? I mean, I haven't done MMA in forever, and then over the summer I went to LA with my stomping grounds, and sure enough, geared up with all my friends, and we did a night of MMA. It was my first time doing full MMA in a long time, and I single-legged a guy which, by the way, there's walls. So I had him up on the wall. That's a whole other factor, which wrestling, we don't have walls.
Mm-hmm.
And he used the wall to stay up. So now I had to, and he was a bigger, stronger guy. And I'm trying to run the pipe, take down a single leg. And he kind of sprawled on me as I'm doing it and fell. And I fell in bottom half, which I like bottom half. I got some really fun attacks and finishes from bottom half. And he's wearing 4-ounce gloves. I'm on bottom half. Both my hands are under his crotch and waist. And he just starts fucking nailing me in the ribs. Yeah. And I'm like, this is not sustainable. I can't be here. Mm-hmm. And it just reminded me, like, F bottom half. F bottom in general. The amount, if you go to a jiu-jitsu competition, the amount of people that, I'm sure you've heard the term pull guard.
Yeah, pull guard.
And I'm a huge advocate of being on top. I'm a huge advocate of taking people down. And this is why wrestlers in jiu-jitsu excel, because we push the pace. We're typically on top. Mm-hmm. And, you know, at the high, stupid high level, you got these wizard leg lockers that will finish wrestlers. And I've seen it live. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, on the macro, when you go to like the tournaments and you see these wrestlers and they're going to take down a freaking jiu-jitsu sport guy who's just like really trying to attack legs and maybe get a sweep, the wrestler's base is going to be too good, and the wrestler's either going to be able to hold them down or pass and smash. Mm-hmm. So there's advantages to both, but the biggest flaw in jiu-jitsu is that most academies, not all, most, I'd say 80 to 90%, the vast majority of the time when they go live, they start on their butts or their knees, which is terrible. And that's also a space issue. Like if you have a full mat and everybody's starting on their feet, it's just not realistic.
You're going to run into each other.
You're going to run into each other. More people are going to get hurt. It's not good for business. So but the vast majority of jiu-jitsu academies in general, whether they're crowded or not, start on their knees or their butt. It's a flaw. I advocate when I teach, and I teach law enforcement classes, always start on your feet. You're never going to start a fight and go, let's start on our butt, or sit down on your butt at a bar and then try to like get him. There's all those jokes and memes. Get in my guard. It's just not realistic. So I'm a big advocate of starting from your feet. I think jiu-jitsu guys appreciate it. The other thing is like one's a martial art, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and one wrestling. It's not a martial art. It's a freaking sport. So it's a little more rough. And I will say, like, I as a wrestler feel the difference when I roll with a wrestler and a jiu-jitsu guy. Jiu-jitsu guys are more slow, calculated, and flowy. Wrestlers are more pressure, explosive. And we get a bad rap in jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu guys will be like, oh man, freaking wrestler. And I get it. There's validity to it. We had a 2-time All-American come in and do a seminar at Academy. He doesn't do jiu-jitsu. And I was his uke, his demonstrator.
Okay.
And just the way he puts his hand on my tricep, I'm like, oh, you're a wrestler. You just the way you're grabbed from a wrestler, it's different the way a jiu-jitsu guy grabs you. We're just more aggressive, more stable and aggressive with our stuff. And, you know, we got a bad rap on the jiu-jitsu mats. A lot of jiu-jitsu guys talk shit about wrestlers because we're so pressured. You know?
Okay. Man, that's interesting. I with the times that I went to jiu-jitsu classes, I noticed that it was pretty tricky for me because I enjoy shooting, but there's a bigger risk I feel with a bad shot in jiu-jitsu than there is in wrestling. I mean, in wrestling, it could end the match. I mean, if you get in a bad shot and they capitalize and get you over, but it's not quite the same as being able to lock your hands and just squeeze.
I mean, that was my day one. My day one in jiu-jitsu. I took the class and then they're like, all right, try to sign up. I'm like, well, can I stay and roll? And they're apprehensive for that for a guy who's untrained. And like, sure. They put me with this bigger purple belt, and we started on our feet, and I'm moving around. fucking power double, get him real nice. I got him exactly where I want him. Little did I know his arm was around my neck. He had me in a guillotine and tapped me. That was my day one of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I was like, some people get discouraged. I was like, awesome.
Right.
Let me fucking learn that. But the reality is, that's how it should be. You should want to like get beat, learn for it, now dissect it. I use it against people. Now I manipulate my shot to bait. I know jiu-jitsu guys are going to go for the guillotine, and I use it against them. I'll use it to pass, and then there's a lot of different options from there. But yes, you as a wrestler, let's say you do just a year of jiu-jitsu and you get like the basics, you're going to be so much far ahead of the other jiu-jitsu guys with no wrestling that do a year. So it's almost not fair about like if a guy who wrestled for 8 years and then you start jiu-jitsu, once you get that first year of data and information, you should be a high-level blue belt. I was tapping most blue belts, and I mean the high-level blue belts, after my first year of jiu-jitsu. Wow. And that's what it would be like for 90% of wrestlers, just because we are so much ahead with the scrambling and the body on body, understanding our hips, understanding escapes. Also just being comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's like we're so comfortable with people on top of us and finding little holes and, you know, escapes. And then you learn a couple of basics in that year and really get it down pat, you're golden.
I think that's something I want to get more into when my time frees up and wrestling season's done and whatnot.
Highly suggest it.
Yeah, just to stay active. And you know, I love the sport. I love what wrestling, to me, it's like kind of what you were saying. It does more for me, my mind, and just feeling good and useful. I mean, now there's a lot of injuries in these sports, and that's what I want to get to next is Grappz. And I'm wearing my Grapp right now.
Woo, baby!
And here we go. So this is so when we were talking, I pointed out to you that I am, you know, missing part of 2 fingers. And
Let me help you out. Ready?
Yeah.
So you see how you're wearing it?
Yeah.
Your palm is going to go on the open side. You're backwards.
Oh, that's right.
So here's the glove. You got this grip print here. This is to mimic the traction of your skin. You're going to put the glove on here.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
And it's a compression glove. Now, part of the objective is to be tight. So you want to get this thing on tight. And, you know, people don't understand the product. They're like, oh, it's too tight. No, it's supposed to be tight. And you get your fingers out the tips. So this is a medium. You want 2 fingers on one side, 2 fingers on other. Pull it all the way down. That's it. You got it. And this is the protection. So in jiu-jitsu, in wrestling, in judo, you don't need your individual fingers. And sadly, our fingers get murdered. You look at an old grappler's fingers, they're jacked the F up. You look at a middle-aged grappler's fingers, their fingers are jacked up.
Oh, it's painful.
This will optimize the health of your fingers tenfold. So it's essentially buddy taping. Now, I married 2 concepts. The buddy taping, which we've all done as athletes, basketball, football, whatever. You jam your finger, you buddy tape it. And then the preemptive viability of buddy taping, because there's so many professionals that can't afford to injure their fingers. So they're going to buddy tape it preemptively. Meaning I'm not injured. I don't want to get it injured. So you have 10x the support when there's 2 fingers together. Like 1 here, you have some stability, but when 2 here, it's not like double. It's significantly more than double when you have 2 fingers. Like going into a hard wall with 1 finger versus I can't go that hard here. So you have the concept of the buddy tape. Now you have full mobility. When you have buddy tape, you can't make a fist because tape is not elastic. So now with my gloves, you can make a fist. The other factor is the compression. So compression sleeves are now big everywhere. Knees, elbows. You see professional athletes in basketball and all these different sports. It got popular in the last 20 years because it's proven. This technology of compression wear is proven. It helps with the blood flow, circulation, the heat, and the compression of the joint. It helps with the healing process. It helps with the support. So now you have healing factors. You're essentially wearing a sleeve over the joints of your fingers with the support of the buddy tape. And now the convenience of not having to sit there, cut the tape, wrap it around your fingers. Simultaneously, the easefulness of putting it on, taking it off, it's reusable, you rewash it, and your efficiency of finger protection just went up significantly. So that's why I have this. We've been on the market since 2017. Awesome. I started this. I'm not an entrepreneur. I literally started this because there was a problem. I saw this as, I've broken 4 out of my 10, well, if we call it 4 out of my 8 fingers, not including the thumbs. Mm-hmm. And I've had surgery on my pinky. I have a recurring dislocation in this finger. And that was what I really started. I'm like, and whenever I would wear tape, it would slip off. Mm-hmm. Every time. After a roll or two, it would slip off on the mat. And it did compromise my dexterity. So I'm like, there's got to be something better. Like, there's all this technology out there. I ended up tearing my ACL, and I was on my ass, and I kind of had this idea. That idea led to I can't work, I can't train. And I started ordering different spandex gloves on Amazon, cutting them up, sewing them. Kind of made a prototype. From the prototype, went to a professional. Then they made the professional stitching prototype. Then I gave it to my training partners. I'm like, well, let me know what your thoughts are. And then my training partners who tape my fingers yeah, I love it. This I would prefer this over tape. So then from there, I had to make a decision and decide. I'm like, all right, am I gonna do this? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm an actor. And I ended up getting a patent attorney and seeing if this existed, seeing can I protect this idea? And sure enough, I put my chips on the table because you got to pay the attorney to do a search, and gave him a nice little, what is that called?
Cut a portion of it?
Yeah, but what's that called? Retainer. I gave him a retainer.
Okay, a retainer.
From the retainer, that's when I was like, all right, I'm going for it. And sure enough, he came back you're good to go. I believe I could get a patent on this. And that was a very arduous process. It took years and lots of money. It's a bit of a scam too. Mm. In the end, if Nike were to steal my idea, they're just going to do the math because they have their own attorneys that work for them. They're not paying them by the hour. They're automatically paying them. They're going to do the math is it going to cost more money to buy this kid out or just fight him in court? Because in the end, they could drown my company. I'm a smaller company. If somebody really wanted to steal my idea, I'd have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on attorneys to prosecute them. Mm-hmm. Now, it might be worth it for some attorneys to do it on a contingency and say, yeah, no, that they're infringing. I'm able to get you a shit ton of money. It's just you got to split it half and half with me. So there's all these different ideas of patents. And then, of course, there's China, which they're going to do whatever the fuck they want.
Right.
If they take my gloves and start selling it, there's essentially nothing I could do. There's no courts or anything that could say, no, that's IP. You can't do that. They're going to be like, fuck off,
Right.
So I did get the patent.
Get the name out there before anybody can do anything, man. Right.
I did get the patent. I'm proud of it. I just know that at a certain point, there's only so much protection. Even Gucci and Armani, all of their stuff is infringed upon, all of it, worldwide, even in the United States. But you can only go after. Look at Dana White. After all these years of people pirating UFC fights, they finally caught the guys. But you had a huge organization, and people were pirating and stealing, and it's only so much you could do. That said, I got the patent, and for people that do, I have sent out letters before, but they're mine. I did this.
That's awesome.
I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I created something for humanity, and I do believe that this is an improvement for athletes. And it's not just jiu-jitsu, it's not just grapplers. It's anyone who can injure their fingers in sports. That's basketball, football, volleyball. I learned all these new people. Like, I have a huge water polo contingent that buy my products. Yeah. Wow. Who knew? Water polo.
So they can swim and wear the...
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. And also it's a high finger injury sport.
Oh, it makes sense. You got that ball, it's hitting your hand, and bending it backward.
Exactly. And it's like bathing suit material, so it works out. Like,
yeah, and isn't there a lot of volleyball? You said volleyball. That would seem like
definitely a lot of volleyball.
Yep. That ball spiked in your hand.
Correct. I've been in business for like I said, 8 years. I learn about new sports that use my products all the time. Like, what? Really? Okay. Sure.
And well, that's cool. And it will help the coaches out too, because at the end of practice, they don't have to go around picking up tape.
That's right. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. Yep.
Because I noticed that after practice, they're tired. They missed the trash can, whatever. Poor coach got to go around, pick up all the tape after the kids.
That's right.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, I think it's cool. I like it because, for me, my fingers were sore, and you go to bed at night and there's nothing worse than you're waking up at 2 a.m. and your dang fingers are pounding, and you got to kind of stay up for 30 minutes to relax them to get back to sleep.
That's what I get from a lot of my older clients. Sorry that we're in that bracket, but the arthritis alone. So compression gloves are a prescription by doctors to old people, not athletes, but just old people with terrible arthritis. They'll say, buy compression gloves. So now that's why I'm saying you're getting the benefit of the compression glove on top of the athletic benefit of the support. So yes, the number one thing I'll get from my older clients, like, man, my fingers aren't sore anymore. So it helps. It's definitely helpful.
Man, that's great, man. And you even have a great spokesperson.
All right. That's
Olympic big champion, Kurt Angle.
That's a big part of the beginnings of my origin story of Grappz. So long story short is, I'm an actor. I've been acting since 2002. I did a film in like 2009 called Beyond the Mat. Great wrestling movie. I was the bad guy, as I normally am. And in the movie, my coach was played by Kurt Angle. Now, I was the only legitimate wrestler in the film because of the main lead roles. I was the lead antagonist. Of the lead roles, all the other actors were actors playing wrestlers. And this was just a Karate Kid movie. Just take out karate, put in wrestling. It was a really good film. Anyway, I was the Johnny, and Kurt Angle was the sensei. Awesome. And the respect I had for him, I knew all about Kurt before. I wasn't a big WWE guy. I was a big 96 wrestling Olympic gold medal. So I knew about Kurt that way. And, I was in awe, like, holy shit, I'm fucking working with Kurt Angle. Right. We became homies, just like you do on set. And he's a good guy. He's like regular dude. Most wrestlers are. Very respectful, very chill. So we kept a relationship. Nothing crazy. We would, text here and there because a lot of actors, once you move on, you move on. But we had each other's numbers. We would text back and forth. So with the start of this, I used my first jiu-jitsu guys. And then after that, I went to professionals because I knew a lot of professional fighters, and then Kurt, of course. So I shipped out pairs to a couple people, Kurt being one of them. And he calls me the next day. He's like, dude, I love this. He's like, this is a game changer.
Wow.
And, he's an older guy. And at that time, he retired from the WWE.
Okay.
But he's more beat up than most. Okay. And the fact that he said that would just put fire in my butt. And I'm like, let's go. And he's like, I'd love to be involved. I'm like, great. He's like, I want to help out as best I can. And from there, that really inspired me to all right, I do have something. And obviously the other people I sent it out to all were same. I love it. I think this is good. I think you got something. And Kurt, I want to say for the first 3 years, did so much like feedback, and like he was such a helpful spokesperson and advocate for it. And now the goal, he went back into the WWE and wore Grappz as part of his costume or his wardrobe, whatever you want to call it for and it was great. He was extremely authentic about it. Like, it helped him, he liked him, and he let his fans know. But through the years, it was very enlightening to find this process of doing everything on my own. It was very hard. Think about just the patenting process was I think about the tech stuff, building websites. I don't know any of this shit. I hate tech. Making mistakes, learning manufacturing, where to manufacture, not getting scammed and getting scammed. Just quality control, design. By the way, I do quality control before I ship to Amazon. So what you've seen me doing here is I'm literally going through every package of gloves, and then I label it and send it to Amazon.
Sweet.
You can buy it on my website, Amazon, eBay, Walmart.com. I'm not in stores yet, but I have a couple of distributors that sell on their websites. But I'm a slow and steady kind of guy. This is not my full-time job. So I can only allocate so much time, but I have so much coming with the company. Like right now, we're just on fingers, but we have wrists coming. So we have another generation of Grappz coming, and it'll have the wrist support. So you're going to have really good wrist support here. We have thumb protection coming, which it'll be the optimal thumb protection that's on the market. There's nothing that's like my product that's coming out. That'll be out in the next 6 months. We're going to start doing more like traditional knees, elbows, protection. So, we have a lot of stuff in the works coming out. But right now we really only sell Grappz. We do this variation and then this variation. And, we're going to test out like the rash guard and MMA short world. It's just hard because everything costs money and time. And I have a wife and kids. I'm an actor. I also I don't make a lot of money like this. Every single dollar I make from this goes back into the company. Mm-hmm. So there's no I don't get paid for this. Other than having a corporation and run it out of my home. So having the benefits of having a corporation out of your home. But it's a very difficult thing, and
the knowledge that you're helping people, that's a payment.
And that's the thing. I'm proud of it because I believe in it and I'm helping people 100%. Yeah. But the potential for me as a business and a company is huge. And I even know, I almost think I would rather someone who knows what they're doing better, who's better with marketing, better with scaling is the word. I'm not, and again, I give myself some grace that I am so passionate about my acting and my family that it's I'm never going to put Grappz number one. And it's not fair because, this is something I deal with as a human. I get the drive and I get the motivation and all these great successful business people. That's not me. I don't want to, I think people sometimes get it wrong where it's you got to be working harder than everybody else. You got to be, if they're working in 18 hours a day, you're working 20 hours a day. And it's I hear you. How are your kids doing?
That's right.
Yeah, you might have a couple million in the bank, but how's your mentality? I lost a very close friend 2 years ago to suicide, who was an extremely successful real estate developer. And he wanted bigger and more, bigger and more, bigger and more very fast. And he ended up going too big, and a couple of investments went bad and lost a lot of money, and he couldn't deal with it. And, that it was terrible, but the lesson I learned from that is bigger and more and is not always great. I'm going to do it at a turtle pace, and my company will be around in 20 years, and it'll be 10x what it is now. And my mentality will be here. My kids will have my presence. I'm going to go on bike rides with them, and I'm going to be here a lot. I'm going to go on a ton of vacations. So that's my objective, even with acting. Like the blessing of not booking a series regular and being on set in Atlanta for 6 months of the year. I could be sad about it. Like, shit, I'm not on a series regular. You know, acting is my number one. Like, I've been acting since 2002, you know, and I've had some good success. I was on a show for 4 years. And when I had kids, my career slowed down and it really effed me up. Like, you know, I was making a lot of money from 2008 to 2015, consistently working. And, you know, I was on a critically acclaimed show. And then 2016.
Which show was it?
It was a show on FX called Justified with Timothy Oliphant and Walton Goggins.
I remember that. Justified. Yeah. I remember the name of that. Yeah. Okay, Justified.
Yeah, check it out. Check it out on IMDb. You could see on my demo reel. But I played Mikey, and I was a recurring character. I was a bad guy, and started off as this little co-star, a couple lines here, a couple lines there, and it was such a great job. And I worked with so many great actors that I grew up watching, and I just kept my mouth shut, ears and eyes open, treated everybody the same, and I had zero ego, and I think people recognize my dedication, and you know, I'm a good actor, and you know, I'm freaking acting across Oscar winners, legitimate. Like
that's awesome.
Mary Steenburgen is an Oscar winner, and I had a couple like big scenes with her, and luckily for me, they rewarded me for that, and they gave me more storyline, then turned me into a recurring guest star. And gave me some really good scenes. And then I'd argue to say I had one of the best death scenes in the whole show. And I died in the second to last episode of the series. So I went on for 6 seasons, and I was on 4.5 seasons. And
that's
right
great.
Before the show ended, I had a very awesome death scene. And after that, my career slowed significantly. And it took me a couple of years of really unhappy, depressed, and like a lot of actors that I see. And man, it's my perspective. It was a blessing. And you know, I'm still working. I got some big gigs. I did a fun role on Amazon's Roadhouse. They did a remake of Roadhouse. If you check that out, I have a nice little gig on there, like a good 2-minute scene.
Cool.
And I'm still doing the damn thing. I'm going to do it till the day I die. But right now, my kids are 7 and 8, and you know, I just went to Disneyland with them on a Monday.
That's awesome.
It is a very interesting way of thinking for me now. To like, I'm still pursuing. I got an audition I got to put on later today, and it shoots in New Mexico. I hope I get it, and I'm not going to turn down work. Like if I ended up booking a series regular that shot in LA, of course I'm going to take the job. And I'd relocate my kids to have them there as much possible. And my wife would probably just homeschool them. But if I'm not doing that and auditions are not coming in, which I don't have control of, I'm spending time with my kids, and it's a blessing. It's like the luck. So that's where I'm at. And that's also why Grappz sometimes gets put on the side burner, and all these ideas that should have been implemented 2-3 years ago are now taking 2-3 years to finally get released. I have my last round of prototypes coming out for the wrist brace and the thumbs. Next week they're being shipped out. And then from there, it's going to be a lot of work. I got to take professional photos, upload all the images and content to my website, to Amazon, and then release those new products and then blast the shit out of it in marketing. So it's a lot. I sometimes have a lot on my plate, but it could have, should have been done 3-4 years ago.
Should have, not accepted.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. And also at what consequence? Like how would my mental health been able to handle that? Because there's only so much I could do.
Yeah, I think that what you're onto too with the entertainment industry is that, you know, there's runs. It's a weird business because you can go on a run and you can be on a 4 or 5 year tear. And then what hurts people is to get back, like you said, you're coming off a high of being on a show for 4 or 5 years, and then you're unemployed again.
Yep.
And you're like, oh man, am I gonna have to do DoorDash? Right? Like I've seen. I mean, when I was in LA, I remember seeing like people who used to be famous doing regular jobs.
Dude, and especially our business today, it's so sad to see how many 6-figure actors are struggling.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
I guess that's another good thing about me as a New Yorker. When I was on a TV show, on the weekends, I'm working catering. I just always had that like make fucking money back then before I had kids. With that money, I bought some properties in Texas.
Oh, smooth.
And Texas is like, you know, the real estate market, if you bought any time in like the 2000 post market crash before 2020, like you did all right. And now like I have not a lot of money, but I have some money coming in from rentals, and knock on wood, that stays good. And that's another one of my side hustles. I property manage my units in Texas. And, you know, when I bought them, they were not expensive properties, but Texas has appreciated. I'm in Austin, so Austin has appreciated significantly.
That's the spot.
Yeah. In 2014, I bought for like $100,000 a house, and, you know, it's not $100,000 anymore, you know?
Dude.
So, and that I accredit to, while I'm on set making good paychecks, a lot of actors are like, I'm not going to work. And I worked on the weekends, and I was at Chateau Marmont. You ever been to Chateau Marmont?
Oh, yeah. That place was awesome.
So I used to work there and hide if I saw some friends of mine that I was on set with, because Walton would go there a lot. And I'm like, fuck, I'm on set with him. And then here I am like, hey, you want a drink? You know, it's like it was a little embarrassing, but I stayed humble. And that extra money allowed me to buy the first house in Texas. And then that house did okay. Put that into a second house, and then into a third. So, and again, I'm not murdering it by any means. I'm just good. Like financially, I'm not rich and I'm not poor. And I see balance in everything. And I think balance is the answer. Same thing with training. Like the guys that do the 2-a-days, 6-7 days a week, it's great to be great, but it's not balanced.
Yeah.
It's also sad. I question, like, it's like that movie Whiplash. You question, like, to achieve greatness, do you need to be in balance? Do you need to drive someone to the point of brink? Do you need to tear down your body so much? But, you know, these are all questions. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't meant to be elite jiu-jitsu, elite wrestling, because I wasn't. I'm a really good black belt, and I was a really good wrestler. But shit, I didn't place in the States. I never podiumed at the States, or, you know, I was just good. I'm happy with that, but maybe I'm using that as a crutch and say, like, I can never be elite. Now, I have some buddies that are elite, and their mindset is different. And I question their inner happiness. And
now, what do you mean their mindset is different?
You know any, like, All-American wrestlers?
Yeah, I know some guys who go American.
When I talk with them, and I have a good buddy who's a 2-time All-American. He actually beat Jordan Burroughs.
Wow.
He's like one of the few guys who beat Jordan Burroughs in college.
Wow.
When you talk with him and then his teammates, it's like talking to tier 1 operators, like military guys. They're elite. Yeah. The way that they were trained and their coaches, it was a battlefield. And this is back then before, I don't know how it is today. I'm sure coaches might have to be a little softer, but wrestling rooms back then on the D1 level and the elite D1 level for that matter, there was it was legitimately rub some dirt on it. And like if 2 guys got into it, it's like, all right, go in the locker room, finish yourself up, go beat the shit out of each other, come back on the mat, and let's go. Oh, you tore your ACL? So are you done for the season? Are you done? Like, you tell me, what do you want to do? Like, are you going to push through, or are you going to, like, and that's just how they are. Like, you're talking about guys that with significant injuries still wrestling, guys with significant injuries still going to practice. And there was no wow. There was no poor me. It is a different level. I was never there, and I don't know if that's the way, but definitely to get to that much greatness in the wrestling room and or in the acting world. Well, acting was a little different because there's other factors, but
yeah, it's not like that's the thing I love about wrestling is that, you know, it's you can't be like, well, you know, in the acting world, man, how many times you go.
Luck is a factor. There's so much luck in acting. There's not a lot of luck in wrestling.
Yeah, because look, you go into a role and the producer's nephew might get the part. You know what I'm
100%.
saying?
100%.
Well, when you're on the mat,
The agent has a connection with the casting. All that is a factor. Luck is a factor.
yeah. But on the mat, it doesn't matter who's related to who. It's you versus him. And
no luck.
They could be the nephew of the king, and it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
So
exactly. That's something beautiful about wrestling. And
yeah, absolutely. Well, dude, before we roll out, what kind of advice do you have for our viewers and stuff? We got a lot of wrestlers that watch the podcast. Any kind of life advice / daily habits or stuff that you would recommend getting into? Because you're a wrestler, but you're also an entrepreneur. Whether you fell into it or what, you're an entrepreneur, and you've done a lot of stuff. What kind of advice would you throw out?
Yeah, so I'm going to give a spectrum of advice, because you can apply advice to life, you can apply advice to business, you could apply advice to family, you could apply advice to mentality. But specifically for wrestling, my advice is do not starve yourself. When you are growing, and I'm like just under 5'8". I have 2 brothers and my dad, they're all just under 5'10". I starved myself pre-puberty. I didn't go through puberty till I was in college, like my end of my senior year. It's like those gymnasts, and they all look like short, stocky. They have weird voices. It F's up your body. Do not starve yourself. You're not getting to your potential for the rest of your life. I truly believe I shaved off 2 inches of my lifelong height because I starved myself. So that's A. And it really fucks up your, what is that called? Your hormones, your pituitary, like all that shit. Don't mess with it. Eat good as you're growing up, because that's a big wrestler problem. That's just pertaining to wrestling. With life, I'm still figuring the shit out. Never stop figuring it out. That in of itself is advice. Never stop figuring it out, because what I'm going to learn 10 years from now and tell myself today is I'm still learning. But the word balance, it's everywhere. And to me, it's religion. Like, balance is everything. And I find it in every aspect of life. Apply it to whatever that means to you. Balance is everything. For business, for me, slow and steady. Slow and steady. Like, everybody wants so much so fast. To me, slow and steady is fine. Understanding what's truly important. We get tricked in our society, in our country, in our age, that money is everything, status is everything, both in acting and in business. The amount, and I have a lot of very successful actor friends, the amount of unhappiness I see in them, it's just, you see it. Like, there's that famous painting called The Boulevard of Broken Dreams. It's like Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe, Humphrey Bogart. They're all sitting at a coffee shop.
Love that.
People don't always get it, and they're always trying so hard to get to that. People that are series regulars, and they're, man, I want to get to movies, and I want to be number 1 on the call sheet. It's like, it's never enough. Like, understand why you don't feel like enough. Is it because of that job, or it's because you?
That's
so right. A lot of people don't feel like they're enough, not because, and they get tricked into thinking, oh, it's because I got to get that next job, or it's because I got to make more money. And they think that's why they don't feel like enough. But really, it doesn't matter how much. If you become a billionaire, you're still not going to feel like you're enough. So fix that here. You got to look at yourself and be like, I'm enough. And, that applies to everything, all the childhood trauma shit, and, look at all that. And, I that word is perspective. Like, I think perspective is really forgotten, and it's not taught in schools, because perspective is also gratitude. I try to teach my kids that right now. My kid's 8 years old. I'm like, oh, like I'm doing this. I'm like, oh my God, this is so hard. I'm like, Ocean, that's not hard. That's not hard. Do you know right now there's a kid in another country, and he has to walk barefoot to school and carry like a jug of water on his back. He has to walk an hour each way. And when he gets home, he doesn't have running water. And he might not have medication if he gets a bad cut, and that cut could kill him.
Yeah.
That's hard. So understand perspective. It's a lot of different advice, and there's marriage. I'm noticing a lot with our generation, which I know you found love and you got a beautiful baby, and I almost fell into the trap of just, why would I get married? It's not logical. Like, I'm banging all these hot girls, and like, I did not think it didn't make sense to me. Why would I settle down? And man, I remember, like, I had some amazing nights, and then I went out a lot, had a lot of friends, and I did pretty well with the ladies. And I remember there'd be some nights I'd be so depressed. And when me and my wife got together, it was so hard. I had everything in me saying, no, don't settle down. Don't do it. Like, you're not ready. And, you don't want kids and da-da-da. And I did it. And I don't have the butterfly effect of the path that I didn't take, of still being single and staying in LA in the party scene. I don't know the answer, but I'm pretty confident that the happiness that I have now and the fulfillment that I have now is extremely a better path than what it would have been.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure, but I'm pretty positive, pretty sure.
Absolutely. You changing that. I saw that in LA a lot, the people, it's like you're waiting for a bus full of, like on Dumb and Dumber, that bus full of girls that comes at the end, right?
I'm sorry. You'll have to excuse my friend. The town is back that way.
Yeah. And it's like, but then all of a sudden, dude, it's not going to happen, and you're just letting time go.
Yeah.
And then so I understand that a lot. I think that
because you found it's a blessing, dude, to find that woman, to find that love.
Oh yeah.
It's a gift, dude. Not everybody gets to find it. It's a reward. And I feel like I got rewarded, and I found my person, and there's a sea of loneliness in Los Angeles. And I'm not hating on Los Angeles. I'm just saying there is a sea of people in our generation that just forget the real reward. And, my kids, as hard as it was and scary as it was, man, you can't beat it.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Can't.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It gives you purpose, which is what a person needs.
Yep.
Well, hey, Johnny, thanks for popping on, man. You got a lot of great stories, lived a lot of life. Look, we're going to put Grappz up on the page.
Yes, sir. All right, check it out. So you're going to go to getgrappz.com, GETGRAPPZ.com. Follow us on Instagram at GrappzOfficial. You could check out my personal Instagram at Johnny Kowalsky. Check out whatever new work I got coming out. Got a couple commercials coming out. And then I'm on Amazon. Cool. I'm on eBay.
And dude, you're always
What's that?
I was going to tell the guys too that you're always on. You always got good, informative videos on your pages as well. Yes. So I know a lot of guys like to pick up techniques and stuff. I like to pick up techniques, and you always have some good techniques on your page as far as grappling, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. Stuff
I
got
a lot of sneaky finishes, and I got a lot of like wrestling applications for jiu-jitsu, and I do those tutorials on our Instagram, obviously wearing the gloves, which I wear every time I train. So check out our Instagram, check out those, and we're on YouTube too.
You say you got you're on eBay. You say eBay, or what did you say you're
eBay,
on?
Walmart, Etsy, Amazon, but obviously where the order comes to me and you could communicate with me is getgrappz.com. That's the best. Like, if you're gonna plug a website, that's the website.
All right. So guys, let them know you saw him on the Swine-Time Podcast. He was with Brian, and there we go, buddy. So hey, thank you, Johnny, for joining me, man. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully, we get to be on another set together.
Baby, come on, let's work.
Back into Florida. Do another job down there, so that would be cool.
Make it happen.
Yeah, man. Well, cool, dude. Well, thanks for joining me, and we will see you on the next one.
Yes, sir. Be well, brother.
You too, man. Thank you.
All right, take care.